Hi guys, here we are back again next day now, and this is going to be part 14. For various reasons which I'll go over, I'm going to have to break away from the manual. As you know, this front cover's got to come off and we've got to do that bearing. But as I said before, I'm not going to do that until the bearing arrives, just to make sure I have got the right bearing. So a lot of this stuff bolts on here, so I can't sort of follow the manual and start fitting brackets and stuff that actually involve this front unit, because it's got to come off again. The manual assumes you haven't taken the turbo off the exhaust manifold, which I have done, so I've had to order new gaskets because there's no new gaskets in the kit. I've also had to order new gaskets for the EGR valve that goes across the back, so I can put the exhaust manifold on and then I can't really do much else, but we can do that and then go to the other side and we can put the intake manifold on, and also there's a coolant manifold that goes down the side of the engine, and then it's going to be engine mounts and stuff like that. So stick with me, it may not be the most interesting video we've ever seen, but a lot of you like to see every nut and bolt, so I'll cover it. So what we're going to do now is get on with the exhaust manifold. New gasket comes with the set, it's a tin gasket. It does only go on one way. You can try and fit it the wrong way, like so. So you've got this lump up here with AB correct, but you can see that they don't quite line up. So the way it goes is AB upside down and forward, and then all the holes line up. And then we can take the manifold, which has been freshly painted. I just need to clean these faces up and then they'll come back. Okay, so now we've got the faces cleaned up. Just drop it on. And as you can see, we've got the studs there, I've got it upside down. So it's going to go on like that. And I have checked my photographs. I took lots of photographs of the engine when I stripped it, so I could see where we are. So I know now that we're okay with those studs in those positions. So we can just pop a couple of bolts in here. As you can see, we've got massive clearance on these holes, and that's to allow for the manifold to move around. If you're familiar with the TD5s, you'll know about how the manifolds bow and crack and everything. Because the designers didn't take into account the expansion issues. Okay, so I'll get these bolts wound in, torque them up to 40 Newton meters, and then that'll be that done. Okay, so as you can see, we've got lots of movement. Okay, this hole here is pretty much got no clearance, so that's where it's pivoting. So what we're going to do is just going to get it roughly so it's in the middle of its movement. I think I'll move that one first. Too tight. So we can get it kind of halfway, and then just tighten those two up. Just hold them down. And working from the centre out. Swing them down. And then go 40 meters. Just go and check them once again. As you can see, they're pulling out a bit more. And then again. That's pretty much it now. And that's the exhaust manifold pulled down. Change of plan, guys. I'm not going to put the engine mount on because the pipe work from the turbo and the dipstick, I believe, runs down here behind the engine mount, so we'll be doing that. So we'll move on to the other side now. Okay, so now you're looking at the, what's this, the left hand side of the engine, and I'm stood in front of it, and this is the flywheel down here. So just to give you an idea of relativity. So we've got this gasket here, a new gasket came in the set. Haven't tried this yet, but it obviously goes that way, and there are no dowels or anything. So we're just going to stick the manifold on here. I have cleaned these faces off so they're spotless. Actually, before I start, I will just quickly make sure these faces are nice and clean. There we go. So the gasket can go there, and then the manifold can go here. Now they tell you in the manual to fit this on nearly last, but I don't see why. I may eat my words, we shall see. Just put a bolt in there just to locate that gasket and stop it falling out. And there we go. So we can pop these other bolts in. This is bad practice. I should have a piece of tape over there. So I haven't. Fingers, not bar, just making sure all threads are good. I cringe when I see people using these. Everybody today uses these. It winds it all in. Oh god. I'm going to have to drop it in this one because the fuel pump's in the way. So probably won't need sense to fit even before the fuel pump. There we go. So we just pull these down. And because the camera's on, but Barking City. Just like that. Okay, so that's all good. So it's obviously around 10 meters. So we'll go for the middle out. They are pulling down, washing the gaskets, so I'm not going to just go all the way down in one hit. Okay, so like they really are pulling down. I'm going to get you just on there. Just check them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think I'm going to get on there without a UJ. I'm going to get a little UJ on there. It's still no good. So it's going to have to be a spanner. So just feel how tight these are. Yep. There we go. So what you can do if you can't get a torque wrench or anything, you can just grab a spanner and just the ones you have torqued, just go till they just nip, and then do this about the same, and then you're good to go. So that's that one on. I guess now we can look at the inlet manifold. Okay, so you can see the inlet manifold is on the bench. We've got these captive sort of bolts again, which are held in with rubbers, so they just stay in place. If you are rebuilding your engine, this is, like normally an inlet manifold would be fairly clean, but because of the EGR, it gets very, very clogged up. And you can see here, even though I've cleaned this out umpteen times, we've still got black soot coming out, and it's quite disgusting. I don't see the point in EGR. It's fantastic when the engine's brand new, but once it's done a few thousand miles, it must become so inefficient that it must, you know, counteract the efficiency that you're getting from it, because the engine's all clogged up and choked up with soot. Crazy, crazy, crazy idea. So as you can see, we've got the new gaskets here that come with the Victor Wrights kit, but they don't give you this seal here. See, I've kept all the old gaskets. Always keep the old ones, don't throw them away. You never know what you're going to need. But don't come with that seal which goes in here. So I need to cut that off, get that seal in there. I am going to give this another quick clean. Actually, I thought I'd done this thoroughly, but it's still quite sooted up. So let me get on with that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so we've got the inner manifold now cleaned up. I've got the new gaskets in there, as you can see here, and we've got the old gasket in there for the intake. So I'm just going to drop this down in. Now I can't see any issues with putting this in now, even though the manual is telling you to put this in like it's almost the last part of the engine build. I can see no reason why this can't go in now, so that's what I'm doing. They're 10mm headed bolts. They're going to be, we just pull it down from the centre. Already done it, haven't I? It's this one now. Oh, still got a squeak. I think that's the rubber on the plastic. Okay, so still not feeling any resistance, like they've bottomed out or anything. These bolts have a sleeve on them, so what happens is the bolt will bottom out and kind of clamp the plastic in place. So what you're actually torquing up against is the shoulder of the bolt against the aluminium of the head, rather than pulling down the plastic, so you're not going to damage anything. So it's still, there we go. That's the rubber. Go and check them once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's them all down. Right, what's next? Okay, so here we see on the dirty cardboard, the dirty painted cardboard, we've got our oil cooler assembly and oil filter. It's stood like this because obviously in here is a matrix, and that gets full of oil, and obviously when you tip it up it finds its way out. So I'm keeping it like this because I know that no oil will run out if I keep it like that. Now this one, there are two different types. Some have a rubber moulded ring type thing which goes on like that, okay, in a groove, but obviously this one doesn't have the groove, so they've changed to a flat gasket. Now I think this was early ones and this was later ones. It's a cost saving exercise to stop having to machine the groove in there. They could probably make the aluminium thinner here as well, unless they used to mill the groove in the block. I don't, in the ladder frame, I don't know, but this system is not good. Mine was leaking. You can see where there's marking. It was leaking pretty much all the way around. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to give it a little smearing of Hylamine. This is going to be really difficult because it's a very warm day and it's probably going to dry extremely fast. But the plan is to just give it a very, very light coat, just to give that gasket a helping hand. That's all I'm trying to do, is just go around the bolt holes as well, because it will always leak from there if it can. As I say, this is a very, very thin smear. You can hardly see it. And then what this will do, it will just give that gasket the extra little helping hand it needs. And I'm going to do the same on the engine. Okay, so I've done the engine and I've also done this one here, and you can see it's a very, very light smear. So this gasket goes on like that, and then we sort of line it up with the holes, and then we can just bend these tabs over just to hold it in place when we put it on. So that's that done like that. Just get the Hylamar there. The reason I used Hylamar is because it doesn't matter so much if it gets in the oil, like silicone can cause issues, but Hylamar just kind of dissolves in the oil, I believe. So let's get around there and we'll get this bolted on. Okay, so we've got we've got two 75mm bolts and four 25mm bolts. So this is going to go on like so. Just grab another bolt to stop it swinging round. There we go. And we can just put the others in. There we go, camera's on, start barking. And then one more, which is obviously going to go, oh, here. I don't like this design at all. I don't like this design of cooler. The Mustang has the same thing, and they do fail. And they tend to let a load of water into your engine when they do fail, which is not good. Or you get oil in your cooling system, and either isn't good. But it's I wouldn't say it's a common fault on the Mustang, but it is definitely a fault, and it's something that Ford say isn't an issue, even though I believe they're still having problems with it now. So I don't like these water to oil intercoolers again. Sorry, not intercoolers, oil coolers. Again, the reason they do it is so that it heats the oil. The water will heat up faster in the engine than the oil will, so therefore the hot water will heat the oil quicker, which makes it thinner and heats the engine quicker and makes the engine more efficient. So it's all about efficiency. There we go. So these have got to be torqued to 23 Newton meters. So we'll just go round again. We'll start in the middle. Let's get them all seated first. That's what I always do. The gasket's compressing. I can feel it going down. Okay. Okay, this will probably go a bit more now. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to bend those tabs in because they're horrible if you catch your fingers on them. When you're doing some work on the engine, ask me how I know. There we go. So now it's time to put the filter in. I've got a new filter. Here it is. This is a MAL filter, which is part of the Britpart Deluxe kit, Britpart original kit. And with that you get the filter, obviously cartridge filter, and you get the O-ring as well to go on. So I'll get those on and then we'll get the filter sorted out. Okay, so I've got the O-ring on, got the filter in. So now what I'm going to do is put some oil on here, put some oil around there, and then we'll screw this in. Right, now I've oiled the filter up, and as you can see you get oil below the O-ring. Okay, so it's a good idea just to wipe around there, because that will drip out, and if you don't want oil drips on your driveway, then I don't. This is what, when I bought it brand new, I drove it home, I had a look underneath and I saw oil dripping from the filter. I thought, oh no. So there we go, so that's going, you can feel it pinching on the O-ring. Let's go around to that. There we go, and then that's going to be tightened up to 25 newton meters, 26 pounds-feet. Now, I don't have a 27mm 3/8 socket, so I'm going to have to use this old school torque wrench. Now, a bit concerning on here, it says 25.5 newton meters, and on the manual it says 35 newton meters. So, which one do you believe? Let's go for 30 newton meters. 26 pound-feet, 30 newton meters is 22 pounds-feet. There we go, that's not going to come out. That's about 22 pounds-feet. So it's halfway between the manual and what it says on there. But again, once again, the manual is probably wrong. So there we go, that's that in. Now what can we do next? Okay, so pretty much finally I think for this video we're going to get the engine mount on this side. So that's going to go in here. Hopefully it's not going to get in the way of anything, I don't think it is. So we've got 4 bolts with washers. Don't forget to use the washers, guys. Obviously they found that these were eating into the engine mounts or something, so they invested a few pennies in some washers, which was really good of them. Shame these manufacturers can't do it on everything these days, but never mind. It would stop everything twisting and moving when you tighten it up, you know. So there we go, so they're going to go in and they're going to go down to 63 newton meters according to the manual. So we shall see. And I think for this side of the engine, other than the starter motor, obviously the stuff up here, which I can't do, I think this side's pretty much done. So I'll pull them all down first to make sure we're not putting any extra stress on the casting. I'll wind that one in. I suppose this engine stand can take this weight. It's getting bloody heavy now, this engine. And then we'll torque them down. Nope, still not ready to torque down yet. Worth mentioning, guys, whenever you do anything like this, always wear steel toe caps and don't put your legs under the engine. Just remember, if the stand gives way and it falls, it's going to swing sort of that way. So don't ever, where I'm standing now I'm okay, but if I was stood behind it, you know, it really could do some serious damage to your legs if it did fall, and to itself. But at least you can try and protect your toes. So there we go. I think that's basically going to be that. There's nothing else I can do because I'm waiting for parts. So we'll call that a day for this video. I think it's been quite a short one. But in the next one we'll get on and we'll get all this EGR cooler, everything on, get the wiring loom on, and then we can start looking at coolant pipes and stuff and getting it all done. See you then.